So good morning. Good morning from Hellenic Mediterranean University on behalf of the Impact Project, which is a virtual exchange program that we try to cultivate the soft, the digital skills, but also the cultural skills among us. I'm very happy that I have together with me today, and as every session, Elena Mizrahi and Samia, which are very close collaborators and also, contributors and among the people that we co-edit this successful proposal and we wish to become a successful project, a virtual exchange project. It's a great pleasure to have with us and continue this piloting international course in soft and digital and research skills and development. And today we have something, different, I would say, and I like it very much. We're going to have with us Professor Peter Harris from the Western Galilee College in Israel. You can see him up to the corner. He's going to provide a workshop on applied theater, how to confront conflicts and promote dialogue, something that I think that we apply every day. Every day we negotiate. Every day we try to negotiate with ourselves and with the others in order to communicate in a peaceful and efficient way and avoiding any confrontation. But also, unfortunately, we experience now a lot of conflicts all over the planet. It is something that I think through negotiations can be resolved. So Professor Harris, few words about him. He's a senior lecturer in theater studies in the Western Galilee College. Among the lectures that he provides is multiculturalism, and this is the heart of Impact. Also he's an expert on community-based theater. He has conducted similar workshops all over the world. So this is one more benefit for us to follow him through this virtual meeting. And I would like to thank particularly, the people from the Western Galilee College for the introduction, Samia and Elena and Samia. And he has conducted these similar workshops in USA, Australia, Taiwan, Singapore, Thailand, and Philippines. I'm very happy to have together with us Peter. Before Peter starts, I would like to provide the floor to my colleague Samia in order also to give a short introduction from another perspective. Samia, the floor is yours.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. It's raining here. I want to introduce my colleague and my friend, Peter Harris, Professor Peter Harris. I've known him for more than 15, 18 years old, right? Right, Peter? We've
That's
been
my
colleagues.
age. I'm 18 years old.
Yeah, 18, since I started working at the college. So this is my 19th year now. Okay, so Peter is a colleague and of mine and a good friend of mine. We discuss things beyond our disciplines and working at the college. He's a pioneer in creating interpersonal communication between different cultures. He reaches out to people from different populations, from different ethnic, religious backgrounds, and he brings everybody together. One of the sessions he gave to my staff, since I'm the head of the English unit at the Western Galilee College, was about language without words. It was amazing, and I hope we'll have some time, maybe in the future, to have some more collaboration with Peter, and he can also share his insight. Peter is known about his amazing ability to bring students from different cultures together to discuss personal issues, universal issues, and sit and work on the projects together. So I'm very glad to welcome you here, and thank you very much.
Samia, before
Yes.
I give the floor to Peter, your introduction inspired me to propose something to Peter. I think because of the profile and how exactly you have described Peter's profile, I think that he should become a member of the executive board of Impact, because this is what we want, this profile, to bring
Yes,
students
of course.
from different cultures together. So Peter—
Yeah, and I must admit that I consult with Peter. And when I came to Kenya last year, I consulted with him about how to run my workshop, and he gave me very valuable ideas.
Excellent.
Mm.
Peter, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. First of all, yes, I'm honored to join your committee. Good morning, Boker Tov, Kalimera, Sabah al Khair. And in Norwegian, I don't know how you say good morning. Can someone help me? Okay. I would like, before we start, because this is a workshop, I very much appreciate seeing everybody's faces. Even if this is you haven't put your makeup on this morning, or we don't mind. It's very important. And if you can put next to your name the country you come from, because if we're talking about interculturalism, multiculturalism, it would help everyone to know. Samia said it's raining. We live in the same country, an hour away from each other. I'm in Tel Aviv and she's in Western Galilee, and the sun is shining in Tel Aviv so far. The rain will probably start moving south, so we'll be in the rain. Okay, again, I'd really appreciate you opening your cameras, because I'd like this to be a workshop where we're active and collaborating with one another. I'm going to share the screen now. So some of you may know a little about Western Galilee College. These three who open up the PowerPoints for our college are theater studies students. They're all actually, they've all finished their studies by now, but they make a very nice picture. This is an activity we did at the college. It's green. It's very very attractive to study in, and this was an exercise in what's called contact improvisation, run by one of our teachers, Rabba Morkus, with students, theater students who came from all over the country to work with us. Samia, is it necessary for me to say something about the college?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so
I think
you
so.
can
Yeah.
see this slide. The population of Western Galilee is mixed, approximately half belonging to Arab-Palestinian culture, so that could be Muslim, Christian, Druze, or Bedouin, and half Jewish. The same applies to the city of Akko, Eka, where the college is situated, and to the student body at the Western Galilee College. Now, I'm not going to go into politics, but you know, we're having a very tense time in Israel right now. And one of our main concerns is maintaining an open and respectful dialogue within our student body and our college about identity, belonging, and the feelings that we want to express. So you can understand the complexity of a very multicultural environment, which is an academic environment. Specifically, in our theater studies department, we have the possibility, if anyone has ever been in any kind of theater or movement or dance workshop, to connect with each other, just as you saw in the circle that we made, and I'll show you some other examples in different pictures. So please make sure your name appears on your Zoom window, because we're going to do a little exercise. But first, because we're talking about soft skills, I thought I'd share the World Economic Forum report on skills on the rise, because we're so AI affected. So this is a graph, but I'll just this is a quotation. Analytical thinking and creative thinking remain the most important skills for workers in 2023. This is the World Economic Forum report for April 2023, so it's very recent. The core skills top 10 is completed by two attitudes relating to working with others: empathy and active listening, and leadership and social influence, as well as quality control. So the world is changing, and I'm very pleased to be talking on a conference that deals with soft skills, because I think soft skills are a very major component in the future of our work environment. So these are the skills, but I won't go through, you can just see, but like curiosity and lifelong learning, and so on. A quotation from a researcher called Amir Shahid: aesthetic engagement invites modes of attention, perception, and understanding that complement and go beyond what is commonly understood as rational thinking. So when we talk about intuition and we talk about how we feel about things, people who come from the sciences maybe and computer sciences are more rational thinkers, but this engagement that goes beyond rational thinking is what I'm going to be discussing and talking about. By the way, I can share this PowerPoint, and at the end there's a bibliography so you can see where the different quotations are taken from. So this is just to understand how we study in the theater studies department. The lady underneath, Rabbi Amorkos, is the lecturer. She teaches, she's a dancer, a choreographer, very well known, and she teaches contact improvisation, and this is what they are doing, a student and the teacher. So this is contact improvisation. This is performance art. It's done in the outside area of the college, and you can see we're dealing with things like, who are you? To whom do you belong? And we're dealing with stop violence towards women. This is a young woman. She's an Arab Palestinian Israeli and very concerned with something that is happening in her community. Just some more pictures to understand the multiculturalism that we enable on stage, in the workshop space, and so on. There will be time for questions, so if you have questions, jot them down and then we'll talk at the end. This is actually Rabbi Amorkos, when she does multicultural workshops, she asks these questions, and I think these are great questions. Who I am? Who am I for you? How do I see you? What is your territory? Where are your memories? Who are you in your territory? Who are you in my territory? What do you act upon? To what do you react? What border lies between your place and mine? What do we do together? What are we waiting for? So it's a call for action, and I assume because we're on share screen, I can't see everyone, but if you identify with any of these sayings, I think none of us can actually not identify. And this is a performance piece by students. Who are you and to whom do you belong? Which was part of a class on performance art, where they create these performance pieces and they do them in the college area outside. So all students in the college are exposed to these pieces of work. What is applied theater? I'll read it because the slide is a little unclear. The girls in the scene are Arab Palestinian Israeli girls from Akko, from the town where the college is, and the students do practical work with different communities, and then they stage community productions based on the narrative and the story of the participants. So these are two girls, young girls, and this is performed at a theater. We had 4 performances that day. We had the young girls, then we had the youth. We had 3 different age groups. Applied theater refers to the practice of using theater-based techniques as tools to discover and learn, to explore issues of concern to communities, to identify problems and activity, rehearse solutions, and provoke and shape social change. So it's very different to what we know as theater, because theater can be a musical, it can be a classic play. It's something that for the Norwegians it could be Ibsen, and for the Greek it could be Euripides, and so on. But we just take actors and we place them in parts, and we direct and we show it to the public. But here, the idea is to put on stage the narrative of the people, tell their story, and I think most important, to provoke and shape social change by creating a discussion around this issue with the audience, and then it multiplies because people start talking about the issues raised. Conflict. So we all know what a conflict is. I just put this slide in to remind us that conflict is everywhere. It's personal, it's racial, it's class, it's political and international. There's always conflict. There's conflict on campus between academic staff and students. There's always conflict, but if we can put that into a creative form, we can actually deal with it without becoming conflictual in the usual way. Instead of fighting, we're trying to express it artistically. We have a contact. What I'm going to talk about now is my major work is creating contact between people in the theatrical space. So it's based on the contact hypothesis, which was started to be devised in the US by psychologists in the 1950s. And the contact hypothesis suggests that intergroup contact under appropriate conditions, so intergroup would be, say, Cyprus, would be Greek Cypriots and Turkish Cypriots, okay? So that's intergroup, two groups. Or it could be in the US, we'll see an example soon, it could be Black people and white people. I'm specifically making it very clear that we have a black and white, and under the appropriate conditions can effectively reduce prejudice between majority and minority group members. So this idea of intergroup contact began in the US with a psychologist named Allport, who said we need to have contact in our schools and workplaces because prejudice in the United States is always there, as it is always, but it was very much more powerful in the 50s when the Black people had a lot less representation. And this was the idea, was to get people in contact, talking to each other through different systems they were working with. Now, what does a minority and majority group mean? Minority group and a majority group means if I belong to the richer class that makes the decisions, is more connected to the political systems, I will be in the majority group. Minority group are the poor people, people with less influence, and you can probably start thinking about majority and minority situations even in the places where you are. Majority and minority groups are sociological terms that can change. A group can change its status with time. With the history shows that some minority groups became stronger and became majority groups, and then it depends. If I am a white man in a room full of people who are non-white, I become a minority group. But in general society, I would belong to the majority group, or at least in the perception of our society that always says white is majority to Black. It's not something I'm claiming, it's something that sociologists, the way they define group relationships. So we're going to do a little exercise. I'm going to explain it. It's on the slide. Then I'll stop sharing so we can see one another. And the exercise is like this. We'll all close the video option. So we'll leave the screen black. And then any participant can call out a group that characterizes their own. For instance, I could say a Jew. Anyone who is like me will open their window for a minute, will see them and close back. And then someone else can call out Greek, say. And then all the Greeks will open their window and call back. This is an exercise for us to understand the multiculturalism, cultural system that we're in. So I'm stopping the share. Is that clear? Are there any questions about that? I'll repeat it. So now I can see a lot of black boxes.
Can I ask, please?
Yes.
I didn't understand the second sentence.
I'm repeating. We will close all the videos, so we'll have black boxes. Then someone can say, I'm maybe Christian, okay? Then everyone who is Christian will open their box. So we'll see the faces and we'll know the different groups that we have here.
Ah, okay.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so let's close our boxes. Leave our microphones open when we want to speak. And let's see who is prepared to be first.
I can be first.
Okay.
So I will say Christians.
Anyone like Kostas who is Christian, please open your boxes, your video. 2, 3. You're not alone, Kostas. Are there any more people?
No.
Any more people who are like Kostas, Christian? Okay, I know this is difficult because you're not theater students. So let's close the boxes again. And who would like to go next?
Me, can I say?
Okay. Elena, yes.
Yes. Israeli.
Israeli. Any Israeli, open your boxes.
Here.
So we were talking about groups. Elena, this is your in-group. This is your in-group. Okay, we can close our boxes again. Let me see on the second screen. Maybe we had some others. And who would like to go next?
Me. Dreamers.
A dreamer. Who are our dreamers? We have a few dreamers. We're seeing some new faces. Wonderful. Samia, thank you for that. We'll do 2 or 3 more. Close your windows. Who would like to? Chris.
Every
Norwegian? Okay. Oh, wow. Wow. We have a lot of Norwegians in the group. You, Chris, you belong to a large group here. We could say that you are a majority group. Yeah. So when we say Norwegian, there are a lot of things that are connected to Norwegian, but we won't go into that right now, but that's very good. Let's do one more. Who is the brave?
I may go. So
yes,
student.
Martha. A student. Anyone who is a student, Martha? Okay. I think we have some more students that are just shy to open their windows. Martha, you belong to a powerful group here. Okay, and clap yourselves with the clap sign if you want to. Michaela too is a student. Okay, and I'm going back to sharing the screen. So this exercise we would be doing in the space where people would actually physically go into physical groups. And this exercise opens up for us the possibility to start discussing the contact, the multiculturalism, the issues that are there. Now, when we
So,
embody...
Peter, Peter,
Yes,
I'm sorry. So this kind of exercise can be included in any inclusivity workshop or activities that we are doing in campus, no?
absolutely.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you.
For us, it is the beginning of searching for the narratives in the group, which we would then create theater from. So this discussion would then bring, when we embody it physically, we identify more strongly, and also we start discovering the nuances within the group that we are a part of, things that we might not have known about each other. If someone says, I'm homosexual, okay, and so how many are we in this group? Am I a minority? Am I half and half? And so on and so forth. So that is an exercise that we use, but we use it moving around the room. So Martin Buber was a very famous philosopher of Judaism and of connection. The idea of I, thou, me, you is something that he investigated a lot. And this is a quote from him. The inmost growth of the self does not take place, as people like to suppose today, through our relationship to ourselves, but through being made present by the other and knowing that we are made present by him or her. So we don't exist if we don't have another making us present. I think we understand that when we think of it. It's simple, but it's very complex, actually, to think of that in any interaction we have, another person is making us credible because they're listening, they're hearing, they're responding, they're identifying, and so on. The book I was telling you, Nature of Prejudice by Gordon Allport, this is the cover of the book that came out in 1954. I remember that, but because it's 2 years after I was born. So I remember the date. I'm not good with dates. Okay, so this was The Nature of Prejudice, which actually was the beginning of the whole thinking about intergroup contact. The space we work in, Augusto Boal was a Brazilian theater director who brought a lot of ideas of social theater into the work internationally. And he calls the space that we work in the aesthetic space. He's using the Greek expression oneric. I think that's the way it is in English, a space that belongs to dreams. The aesthetic space liberates memory and imagination. Okay, so when we start working in a space, moving around, we're liberating memory, which is past, imagination, and imagination can help us think of the future. We're going to do a little exercise. We'll go into breakout rooms in a minute, based on a story which an Israeli writer called Leah Goldberg, she's very famous, wrote. Most people in Israel know the story. She actually stole it because it's originally a Russian folk tale. It brings to mind a lot of things about bias and the way we relate to one another. And I'm showing you some pictures. The story is called Apartment for Rent. I translated it into English, so you don't have to read the Hebrew. And And I'm showing some examples from a workshop in a conference in New York, where I did the same exercise, but it wasn't on Zoom. And here are people discussing, after reading the story, personal experiences that they thought of after hearing the story. So this is just to see how people get into groups and they start devising a little theater piece, a little performance based on their own stories or one of the stories in the group, influenced by the story we're going to read in a minute. So we can see this is a very multicultural conference in New York. People come from all over the world. Using their bodies. Using drawing. Apartment for rent. Okay, we are going to read the story, and I'm happy for volunteers to read. If anyone would like to read a little bit of the story, just open your microphone and go ahead.
I can read.
Okay, Kostas, the first part is yours.
The first part means the first question.
No, the
In order to
first
stop.
part of the story.
Okay, so apartment for rent in a beautiful valley among vineyards and fields stands a 5-story tower. And who live in it?
Continue.
On the first floor, a fat hen, tossing and turning all day on her bed. Too heavy to walk, she lays there instead. On the second floor lives a cuckoo. Wandering around, her children she's placed in some other bird's house. On the third floor, a cat, black, clean, and daintified. Around her neck, a ribbon is tied. On the fourth floor, a squirrel resides, happily cracking nuts and putting them aside.
Okay, who would like to read the next page? Chris, maybe? Helena, maybe?
Yeah, I can read.
Okay.
On the 5th floor lived Mr. Mouse. A week ago, he packed up and left the house. Nobody knows where and why. The residents of the tower put up a sign, apartment for rent. Down highways and roads, along paths, new residents make their way to view the house. First comes an ant, climbs the stairs, reads the sign, stands in the doorway and stares. The neighbors appear and stand around. They greet her with welcoming smiles, looking proud.
Okay, who would like to read the next page? Be brave, be brave.
Me?
Yes, Samia, thank you.
Are the rooms to your liking? They are nice. Do you like the kitchen? It's nice. Does the corridor give you a good feeling? It's pleasing. If so, Miss Ant, will you stay? I'm afraid nay. Why? The neighbors aren't appealing. How can I, an ant, waste my time with a lazy hen, tossing and turning over and over again?
Who would like to continue? I'll read one page. The hen was offended. The ant went away. The ant gone, a rabbit appeared, swiftly hops to the top of the stairs, reads the sign, stands in the doorway and stares. The neighbors appear and stand around. They greet her with welcoming smiles, looking proud. Are the rooms to your liking? They're nice. Do you like the kitchen? It's nice. Does the corridor give you a good feeling? It's pleasing. If so, Ms. Rabbit, will you stay? I'm afraid nay. Why? The neighbors aren't appealing. How can I, a mother of 20, live with a cuckoo who abandons her babies? Her children all raised in strangers' nests. What kind of lesson for my children is this? Who'd like to read the next page? Students, be brave.
Build your confidence. This is the first step. Speak.
Okay, we can read again the teachers.
I can do it again. I can do it.
Yes.
The cuckoo offended. The rabbit hopped off. Rabbit left and the pig arrived. Looked up and saw the sign. He rolled up the stairs and opened the door. His beady eyes gazing at walls, ceilings, and floor. The neighbors appear and stand around. They greet him with a welcoming smiles, looking proud. Are the rooms to your liking? They are nice. Do you like the kitchen? It's nice, even though it's not squalid. Does the corridor give you a good feeling? It's pleasing. If so, Mr. Pig, will you stay? I'm afraid nay. Why? The neighbors aren't appealing. How can I, a pig, why to my court, share my abode with a cat that is black? It's not fitting, and that's that.
The story is getting hotter.
Yeah.
Okay, who can continue? Samia.
The neighbor calls after him, "Go, pig. It's not fitting for us either." Once again, either, and that's a fact. The pig went away, and a nightingale came singing. Up it hopped, opened the door, and looked at the floor and the ceiling. The neighbors appear and stand around. They greet her with welcoming smiles, looking proud. Are the rooms to your liking? They are nice. Do you like the kitchen? It's nice. Then stay with us. No, I won't. The neighbors aren't appealing. How can I listen to the squirrels crack nuts all day long when my ears are accustomed to music and song? Wow.
Elena, can we ask you to read another one?
Sure. The squirrel offended, and the nightingale left. The nightingale gone came a dove, light as a feather. She hopped to the apartment above, read the sign, stepped inside, looking around. The neighbors appear and stand around. They greet her with welcoming smiles, looking proud. Are the rooms to your liking? They're a little bit narrow. Do you like the kitchen? It's not very wide. Does the corridor give you a good feeling? It's a little dark and gloomy. Then we suppose you won't be staying.
Costas, I'll give you the
Who
last
won't stay?
punchline.
Thank you. I will take this challenge. I certainly will. The neighbors are pleasing. The good-natured hen, the conquidis cuckoo, the cat so clean and feline, and the naughty squirrel who loves a good time. It looks to me we can all live together in peace and harmony, birds of a feather. And so the dove took the flat, all day she rambles, and that's that. In a beautiful valley, among vineyards and fields, stands a five-story tower. Living together from now to eternity, 5 good neighbors in peace and tranquility.
First of all, well done. Can anyone just by, you have the reactions down here at the bottom. You can just put a like on your screen if you have experienced or witnessed situations like this. It could be in a building, and it could be in a town, it could be in a neighborhood, it could be in a country. If you've been aware of any kind of situation like this, where there was some bias against someone who was from the out group and not the in group. Yes, so just show us with little, down at the bottom of the screen, you have reactions. Press any reaction so we know. Yes, thank you, Bjorn. Thank you, Anders. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Helgrim. Thank you, Alexander. Oh, okay. We all have either experienced or witnessed. What we're going to do now, it'll be easier, I think. We're going to break up into rooms. Does everyone know how the rooms work on Zoom? We'll be 5 people in a room, and we'll have about 15 minutes to share stories of things we've either experienced or witnessed. And then we'll come back and then decide on one story that we'd like to share with the others, and we'll come back and we'll share them. I hope that's not too difficult, and I hope that when we're in the breakout rooms, we can actually open our cameras and talk to one another. I'll explain for whoever doesn't remember. With breakout rooms, we suddenly find ourselves with 4 people. We can talk to one another and no one else, none of the other groups know what we're talking about. We can ask for me to come in if you need help with anything. And we'll have about 15 minutes of talking to each other and sharing. Hopefully, Zoom will break us into groups where we have people from different cultures, which is also a part of the experience, I think. Are there any questions about that? Okay, so here we go. We need advanced here. I lost the breakout rooms.
So if you go to more,
I was in more.
so breakout room.
Here we are, breakout rooms. Okay, so we'll have 5 people in each breakout room. Okay, and we'll be back together in 15 minutes. So it's now 10:50. It will be 11, and in different countries it's different, but it'll be 5 minutes past the next hour. Sorry, my mistake. I'm sorry, I just made a mistake. I'm fixing it.
Excellent.
We'll be more
Why
than
did
5
we-
people. We'll be a little bigger. Not everyone has to talk. Some can just listen because we have 15 minutes, and I know some people are not ready for talking. So we'll have about 8 people in each room.
Okay, so we are rearranged.
I've rearranged. Sorry, yes.
Okay.
I can join Peter, whatever room I want.
You'll probably automatically go into a room. Let me see.
Yes, I can go wherever I want myself. So I will go where
You can, yes,
smaller
you
group,
can. You
where
can.
the smaller group is. So I will go room 3.
Okay, lovely.
Oh, I have a
Send
very
it here.
maybe you know someone here because they are not opening their microphones or cameras. So I'm with myself for now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please, switch on your camera or your microphone in order to communicate, especially the students that you are taking this course, as a part of your curriculum. I will appreciate this. So we have Charles, Milo, Yorgos, George.
Hi.
George will help us, Kevin, Charles, can you switch on your camera or you don't have a camera? Excellent. Thank you, man. And Tobias and Henning? Tobias and Henning? Excellent. The duo, the twins.
Okay, we're gonna talk
okay.
now.
Yes, now you can talk. Yes.
Yeah, we are looking for a story, maybe something that you experienced where people didn't fit. It doesn't matter if it was related to, you know, the country they belong and their religion or some kind of other bias or stereotype. Did you
I have
ever...
a story in order to start. This happens, you know, not, you know, I mean, it happens in very big capitals in Europe. I remember, you know, in Paris, there are areas where, you know, you can identify poor religion groups and other areas that, you know, other kind of citizens of Paris, they cannot even pass, you know, these neighborhoods. So we can see in the capitals of Paris, you know, areas where Muslims, immigrants, they stay, they have created a very tough group over there. And, you know, other people within the Paris are not very accepting. The same happens in Brussels. If you go in where the Anderlecht Stadium is in this area is like, it's like a specific group within, you know, a multicultural group within Brussels. The same in Paris. So, I mean, I have experienced this by observing and by traveling through the European capital. I have experienced this as, I would say, as a reflection. When I was a student, you know, the Greeks would like, you know, to make a group, not because we don't fit with the others, but because we feel more comfortable, you know, on abroad to be.
Everyone, yeah.
And when someone else comes to our group, at the beginning, we need to adapt in order to not speak Greek and welcome him or welcome her. But in a negative way, I have seen this in a lot of capitals, also in Brussels, in Paris. In Greece also, we have experienced this with the gypsies, that there are, you know, some ghettos, I would say, that, you know, other people, they cannot enter. And also, you know, the gypsies, they don't feel comfortable when they are outside of the ghetto that they stay. So these are like 3 examples that I have experienced as Kostas through internationalization.
Okay, anyone else from the students want to share? Which cities do you live in? Can you maybe think about your own, you know, maybe even area, region, city? Charles is speaking, but we cannot hear you for some reason. You are not muted.
I'm muted.
Okay.
Me, I'm French. I'm living close to Paris, but I haven't witnessed one of this situation, so I don't have a story to tell you about it.
So do you have all people like very similar to each other living together? You don't feel like anyone is excluded or not welcome?
Not in my city. I haven't experienced one of this situation.
Interesting. Very homogeneous. Well, Israel is very heterogeneous. So if we need another example, I will definitely share, but I want to hear your stories first.
I can tell you my story, maybe if you want.
Yes,
so I used to live in Switzerland. I did my second postdoc. And Switzerland is a very multicultural, multi-language country. So it has 3 official languages, French, German, and Italian. And I mean, apart from the university, which everything is like multicultural and multi-language, let's say, in the society, people are really separated due to their language. So if you are, for example, a foreigner like I was, and I couldn't speak any of their national language, it was very difficult to adapt in the community. And I mean, even in general, for the Swiss nationals, they are separated into Swiss German, Swiss Italian, Swiss French. So it was a bit difficult to adapt in this kind of situation.
Very interesting. Thank you for sharing, George. Yeah, very, very interesting.
And also, I would like to add something because I spoke about other countries. And in my country, also in our country, like, you know, me and George were coming in Greece. If you go to the north, to Thrace, you can see that, you know, the Muslims, you know, they have villages with walls around the villages. So you can see that these people, they don't feel comfortable with the Christians, that they are outside of these walls, or the Christians, they are not going to feel very comfortable if they join, you know, these communities. So in Greece, you can see, you know, very obvious these situations. Also, how, you know, these areas are set up. So you can see walls, and also, so you can see, you know, building blocks, but, you know, split, you know, the region. Also in Berlin, I have visited Berlin before the wall collapsed. So over there, you can see a wall that splits the people in based on not in nationality, not in because of the religion, but because of the political beliefs. This is what I would like to add.
Yeah.
What about in Norway? In Norway, we have Tobias and Henning. Henning looks like a Norwegian. I can see that they are in the same room. So he's a Norwegian with Tobias. They stay each other. So how is the situation in Norway regarding this? Everything, all the groups, you know, they're feeling happy and...
Do you have any groups? Like, let's begin with...
They should have, because they have a very big oil industry and they have a lot of people that they work outside of Norway to them. So Tobias, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. It's not so easy for us to see that possibility because we all live on the countryside. So it's small communities, maybe 20,000 people. So it's not that big. So we don't experience that very often.
Excellent. And what about Kevin?
They're the same kind of the same language, religion, traditions, memories, and right everything.
Okay, let's give the floor to Kevin. Kevin?
Well, it's pretty much the same. It's a small community. It's not really something we experience often.
So Kevin, Tobias, and Henning, you are coming from Norway, from the same group. So you can see that the small groups, they live like more like a homogeneous, they have a more homogeneous interactivity. And as we are moving to bigger communities, to bigger cities, you know, these things are coming because the people, they start to interact and the people start, you know, from different groups to somehow communicate, and these kind of differences appear more obviously. So Elena, I think that, you know, your story from...
I'm originally from Ukraine, so the place I was born in, we are all Ukrainians in the south of Ukraine. So I mean, it's a big city, like 500,000 residents, but of course there were different minorities as well. But I don't think I experienced it because also I was born in the Soviet Union, and then a lot of changes were happening in that place of the world. Now I live in Israel. Israel is a very small country, and it's very diverse. So we have a lot of immigrants. So I'm an immigrant myself in Israel from the Eastern Europe, and we have a lot of Russian, Ukrainian, and, you know, all the different countries from that area who immigrated into Israel. So we could call it like a widespread immigration community in Israel, the Russian-speaking community. There is no like separate specific places or cities that the Russians live. So the Russians live everywhere. We also have a huge immigrant kind of like different looking population in Israel that are from Ethiopia. So we have Ethiopian Jews that come from Africa, So for example, one of my first experiences in Israel was teaching English to the Ethiopian immigrants. Very interesting experience. And of course, we have Jewish Orthodox communities that are more kind of close. They live in their own places where like non-Jewish, non-Orthodox, like not very religious people would not feel comfortable joining them. So this would be some kind of several cities that are very Orthodox, very much religious and have their own traditions and kind of close. They will welcome everyone who wants to join the way of living, but everyone not living their lifestyle would not feel comfortable there. And the same goes for some Arab villages. But then we have a lot of cities where everyone lives together, Arabs, Jews, Russians, Ethiopians, we have a lot of French people, a lot of immigrants living together. And yeah, it's very different. It depends on a location, but we're very close to each other, neighbors. So we actually experience, I think we need more doves from the story where it will feel comfortable for everyone to just live in peace and enjoy each other's neighborhood.
I would say because we have 20 seconds to leave the breakout room and we have to select one story. I think because we are in a university, and I think that the most university-related story was this of George. I think that,
Yes,
George, you should
I
share,
also like the story from Switzerland.
your story, when we go back. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you.
And we leave the breakout room. Bye.
Welcome back. I think everyone's back. I went into group number 1, and I think it was a little difficult to get talking there, Remy. Am I right? Remy? You can open your mic.
It was a bit difficult.
I was in room number 1 as well, and I think it just we talked at the beginning about our maybe stories, but no one has good one or like good experience or witness or something like this about that. So I think at the end the discussion would end because no one has good idea to say or to show or explain.
Okay. I think, Clément, you're from France, yes?
Yeah, sorry for my accent.
No, it's good. I like your accent. Where in France?
I study in Tours. It's like close to Paris, almost.
Because I think, we witness in Europe a lot now, prejudicial situations, even if we don't experience them ourselves.
Yeah, I think for me, it was like just when I visited my apartment when I was in Tours, it was about like my neighbor, they had 2 babies, and at the beginning I didn't know that, and they were crying every time. It's cute, I mean, like babies, it's always cute, but just the fact I heard them crying every time, it was sometimes difficult for me when I was walking to be focused or when I was trying to sleep. Well, this kind of thing, it was maybe difficult. And maybe if I knew that before, I wouldn't choose this apartment, maybe. So I think, yeah. And that's cute. I mean, babies are so cute. It was just...
You don't have to apologize. Parents suffer that as well. You don't have to apologize.
Yeah,
no problem. Babies crying, yeah.
One of my daughters, when she was born, she cried a lot, and the neighbors all complained. So sometimes these little things become big things for us. My nephew in the UK bought a house, and he has very noisy neighbors, and he has to sell the house now because they just can't live there. Would anyone else like to share one of the stories that came up?
Maybe I can share mine.
Thank you, George.
I mean, I used to live in Switzerland since a few years ago. I left, but I want to share you my story. So Switzerland is a very inclusive and multicultural, multinational country, but it has a very peculiar structure. It has 3 official languages, German, French, and Italian. Of course, I was working in a university in Lausanne, in EPFL, and everything was very welcoming and inclusive. But in terms of living in the country or in the city, everything was separated with the languages. So, and even Swiss citizens themselves, they differentiate to Swiss German, Swiss French, and Swiss Italian. And if you don't speak their language, it's very difficult to integrate in the society. So I mean, I felt this since the beginning. So I had to go in the local commune and register myself. And they were asking me to speak in French, or other friends of mine, they were asked to speak in German. I mean, it's okay, but it's very difficult to integrate in the society. And I mean, I used to live also in the UK, and it was completely the opposite situation. So I compare these stories from my past experience.
Thank you, George. I think language is very much an issue. And when you tell your story, for me, as a person who makes theater, I can already see the scene, because there's an internal conflict and an external conflict. Yes, anyone else? We'll just have like another couple of sharings because we don't have that much time. I want to show you a couple of examples of how things become theater. A couple of
Remy,
videos.
yeah, Remy raised his hand.
Yes, Remy, yes.
I have an experience from a past work contract I had, where I had a couple of Polish workers that come into Norway to work and didn't know any language or anything, so they had a hard time adjusting to the Norwegian work environment, since they had different perspective on how they should do things, and we had like thing like that, so it got become difficult. That's something that could be seeing something similar to the story, but just in a
So for when we're making theater which sublimates situations, we're looking for these real life dramas, which, you know, the story or one of your stories, everyone else can identify. Just changing the situation or the characters, the conflicts exist. We have time for one more. Okay, I'll show some pictures in the meantime, and then I want to show you a couple of short videos. So just some pictures of work in different places. This is Greece. This is Akko, the town where the college is situated. This is Australia, a multicultural MA for people from the southern eastern region of Asia. You can see all different types of Asian people. They're studying human rights, MA in human rights, and we were working through theater and movement and drama. If we had been able to meet physically and do exercises like this, I'm sure we'd open up a lot more stories. This is Mesot in Thailand. These guys are refugees from Burma, living in Mesot, which is on the border with Burma. Also investigating conflicts in their society, and also being people who have been removed from their land. This is Taiwan, Taipei, schoolgirls. This is also in Taipei in Taiwan. Working with the Chinese people is also very interesting because they're not used to expressing themselves. They're not used to sharing. But after we worked for a little while, you can see people were going quite crazy. This is also in Taiwan, in Nantou County, where they're not Chinese, they're Aboriginal, the original people of Taiwan. You can see the setting also, completely different physical environment. And I'll tell you a little about this video we're going to see. It was a project at a campus in the USA where we wanted to raise the issues of color prejudice on campus. Drew University, it's in New Jersey. And we had students from the theater department, and we had students from the, they call it the something cultural department. And I'll just let you watch. There's a little bit about how the students are in workshop, working out the issue, and then you can see the performance piece, 2 monologues by 2 students. Let me know if you can hear the sound.
No, because you should stop sharing the screen. And when you share it again, there is a click down to the left corner, share the audio as well. So stop sharing, start to share again your screen, and click down to the left corner, share sound.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it.
That if I'm going to make it through this is.
We don't see the video, Peter.
I'm sorry.
And
we can hear but not see.
Let's share the screen again. Okay, that's the one. You see the video now, right?
Yes.
And prove to myself that I can face adversity, but I still have so much fear of being rejected, especially by people that are supposed to love me so much.
Although these exercises brought up a lot of issues and allowed us to explore it, in the end we found that the best way for us to address what was going on in the group was for people to perform their stories. And so we ended up with these very personal monologues that were very moving because they were very personal.
It's the fall of 2007. I've just moved into the Women's Concerns House as a sophomore. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm a crazy feminist. So I've been living there for about a month when I heard someone say,
things are changing at Drew.
what do you mean?
People use words like dyke and faggot all the time.
We had this exercise where we had blank playing cards, and we had to write, I think it was 5 attributes of ourselves on them. And like we'd walk around and you'd like wear one for part of it, and then you'd stop and talk to the person you like stood next to at that moment about that particular thing. And then we broke down into small groups, got into this really intense and like really heated and continuous debate that continued through to the end in our 2 monologues.
He didn't know that I didn't agree with homosexuality, and we got into a big discussion about that, my views, his views, and
her views and my views, and her personal wishes for me as a friend, which then conflicted with like the political and religious views, and then my views of how like those 2 meet in my mind, and it evolved through that.
When I first came out, like people at church would like go up to my mom and be like, "Oh, well, we're praying for your son," and she was like, "Thanks, but no thanks." Like, like I don't need your sympathy. Like, there's nothing like, like, yeah, it's just.
But you still feel comfortable going to the church and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it was really funny. On my 18th birthday, it was a Sunday, like 2 years ago, yeah. And the pastor, not the pastor, like one of the priests was.
I guess I never told him. I didn't think it had anything to do with my friendship with you. Now you're talking to me about a bunch of laws I don't think I understand or never heard of before. You claim you don't understand how I would want you to be happy if I would take away your right to get married. You can't seem to face the fact that me wanting happiness for you runs way deeper than your sexual preference or gay marriage. You fail to realize what I'm going through as a person telling you that I don't agree with this part of your life. So when you make the comment that I'm contradicting myself, I'm ready to scream at you for not understanding me as I choose to understand why you consider yourself gay. I completely understand why you feel you stand alone being gay. Every day I stand alone because the lifestyle I live, many people find obtuse. That's the part of my life that I feel that people will never understand. That's the part of my life that I feel like I have to fight every day, not to just show who I am, but what I am. A Christian, a God-fearing young woman of Christ. Now, do you understand me as I understand you?
Wait, I didn't even know you were religious. I mean, you always think you'll hear things like, I think you're going to hell from some old Midwestern cowboy minister, you know, the kind that runs around wearing a big hat screaming, God hates fags! But that's not you. Think about it. Why would I choose to be looked down on? Why would I choose to have my rights taken away? Why would I choose to be threatened because of who I love? Would you choose that? Could you change who you are because of what other people considered right? And why make someone else feel that way?
Understand me as I understand you.
Understand me as I understand you.
I'll finish off with a short clip that we did at our college, tackling the issue of living together, Arabs and Jews. It's in Hebrew, but it has English subtitles. And then I hope we'll have a few minutes for questions.
אי אפשר להשתמש בסולם, כי הסולם יגיד למחבל.
הנה, הם שם בבוידם.
מה זה בוידם?
עד עכשיו חשבתי שאת לא מטומטמת, אבל עכשיו אני חושב שאת דווקא כן.
עמית, באמת, הדברים שאתה אומר ממש לא נעימים. בוא תירגע באמת.
בוא לא נירגע.
בואו נדבר על קונפליקט. על כמה שהוא חייב להיפטר, שחייבים לדבר, שחייבים לגשר.
אנחנו רגע לפני ההצגה שנקראת כנאפה זה לא פוליטיקה, קולות רקע. זה השחקנים הסטודנטים שמתארגנים. זו הפקה שנולדה מתוך תהליך ארוך של מפגש בין סטודנטים ערבים ליהודים. הצגה משקפת את מערכות היחסים בארץ, בגליל המערבי, במכללה. במפגש הזה עלו תכנים לא פשוטים.
זונה של שלום!
אני זונה של שלום! זונה של שלום, זונה של שלום, זונה של שלום.
אנחנו נמצאים בערב הסיום של קורס שנתי שנקרא דיאלוג בין אחרים, בהנחייתו של דוקטור פיטר אריס. אני קצין משוחרר, הייתי קצין בצבא בחיל הים, התחנכתי באמת על הציונות ועל ערכים, ולמדתי שבאמת קיים פה עוד עם, שאנחנו חיים ממש באחד ליד השני, שאנחנו צריכים לשים יותר לב אחד לשני, שיש לכל אדם צבע. אנחנו אנשים צבעוניים, ובואו נתייחס לזה, בואו נבנה מזה קשת אחת גדולה ולא ניצור מזה בלגן.
סליחה? כן, אני אמירה. עוד פעם המשטרה ותעודת זהות עכשיו וכל הדברים האלה, באסה.
בהתחלה הרגשתי שיש פחד שאני עולה למופע של בין יהודים וערבים. יש שינוי שאני עכשיו מרגישה שאני יותר חזקה. אין לי פחד לדבר.
אני וזנה, הכרנו בחזרות, עכשיו אנחנו ביחד.
מה אתה עושה? אתה רוצה שיהרגו אותי?
אני לא מבין.
כל הכפר אולי?
אני מוכן לבוא לדבר עם אבא שלה.
الموضوع المسرحية اللي نحن بنشتغل عليها طلعت لي كثير مشاعر اللي أنا كانت زمان مش موجودة فيه. بس جيت لهون وبلشنا نشتغل على هالمسرحية فقط في كثير مشاعر. أنا من الجولان السوري المحتل كعمل كان كامل بالنسبة لي. شفت قديش عن جد كل واحد بلا وطن وبكون فاقد كثير شغلات. حسيت بقيمة الوطن لأبعد حد ممكن الواحد يحسه.
בהתחלה חשבתי שזה רעיון גרוע, לא רציתי שזה מה שזה יהיה. זה נכח אצלי מאוד, כי הרבה שואלים אותי על מגע ואיך זה עובד לי פה. קרה כאן איזשהו משהו שהוא מעבר לזה. העשייה המשותפת הזאת עשתה משהו, ואנחנו ישר היינו תמיד חברים טובים, והמופע הזה ספציפית והעבודה הזאת הנכיחה לי את העניין הזה. נהיו חברות ואמיתית, מלב ולב. אני פה, ורק פה, ורוצה להיות פה. אני שברתי את הפחד, וזרקתי את הפחד ואת העצבים. ובעין השמש עמדתי, ורוצה להיות פה, ואני לא יכולה להתעלם מהזהות שלי גם.
ההשתתפות בהצגה הזאת די מתנה אותי. לי היה את ההפך, היה לי פחד מערבים, וגם אפשר להגיד גזענות. זה שבר את החומות בינינו, שאנחנו משחקים יהודים וערבים, ונתן איזושהי תקווה לשלום ואחווה בין העמים. לראות את הטוב שבכל אדם ולא לשפוט אותו בגלל לאום כזה או אחר.
זה היה טוב מאוד, אבל אני חוזר על זה, זה היה לא משוכנעים. אבל לאנשים שלא מסכימים עם זה, אתה לא תמצא אף אחד שימחא לך כפיים על מה שעשית. הקיצונים מפה יגיד לך שאתם כבר מפקירים אותי, והקיצונים מהשם יגידו אותו סיפור.
אני באתי מהצד הקיצוני של היהודים, מאוד קיצוניים, ואני יכולה לומר שאם זה השפיע עליי, יש סיכוי די גבוה שזה גם ישפיע על עוד אחרים, אולי על 10, אולי על 20, אולי על 15, אבל זה ישפיע.
אמיר הבא, אמיר הבא!
יש בהצגה הרבה הומור, יש בקבוצה הרבה הומור. אתמול למשל, בחזרה הגנרלית, אנשים מהקהל שהיה, מעט קהל, קצת התבייש לצחוק, כי הם לא היו בטוחים שמותר.
שום כנפה! לא יהיה פה שום קטע על כנפה! אני לא רוצה שום קטע פוליטי בהצגה! פוליטי, אמירה. כנפה זה לא פוליטיקה.
اللي كان صعب هون انه بامتع التهليخ وقفت على المخصوم اتفتشت بكل وسائل الوجع. كتبت مونولوج كتير قوي ولدرجة انه جدلت انا وحدة كمان بالصعب. بون اكيد انه كنت مضيعة الزهود تاعتي. كمان انا هون عشت بين يهود اللي عن جد حبوني واللي عن جد انا حبيت، واللي عن جد كتير قووني. يعني صح في كونفليكت العرب واليهود، بس انا هون عن جد بصفها كنتش احس في طرفين.
המוטו של ההצגה זה קבלת האחר, אבל בסופו של דבר אנחנו נצא לחיים ונראה את הקונפליקט ביום יום ונחזור לשגרה, והשגרה תשנה אותנו ההצגה עשתה אותה יותר מתונה, אבל מה עם השאר משני הצדדים? אז בסופו של דבר התיאטרון הוא כלי לעשיית תרבות ולעשיית שלום במקומות אחרים.
תהיה אתה, ואם אתה רוצה לשנות את העולם, תתחיל מעצמך.
Questions?
Thank you, Peter. I have a question in the chat, but maybe someone else has questions before mine.
Excellent. So this is the time for questions, no?
Yes, absolutely.
I have a question. I have two
Sure.
questions, actually. First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. It was like something extraordinary for another point of view, and I really appreciate this. And I would like to ask you, do you think that, these applied theater activities can be activities that they can enhance the social impact of a university?
Yes. In fact, a production we did at Drew University, they then performed, after the performance, the actors sat in groups with the audience, and they had discussions on all the issues that came up. There were issues of race, there were issues of gender, there were issues. Then they decided to perform it not in the theater space, but in the canteen of the college. And then the college started discussing these issues, and Chris, who was talking on the film, he said that the basketball team, who were very homophobic, they came to him and they said, "We apologize." So, and then issues of race as well that were not being dealt with on campus had to be dealt with. So yes, so when it happens within a community, in this case a campus, it creates discussion and it can create social change if it's directed in that way. So one more thing is the community theater director is not only a theater director, he's an activist, and he has to be thinking with his actors, how can we create change in our community? It's not just entertainment, it's much more than entertainment.
And I suspect from this activity, it's like somehow through a gamification that the people, they speak and they express themselves, the others are together, they listen, and this opens a communication, no?
Absolutely. So if we perform on our campus at Western Galilee and people come and staff come, we're opening up discussions on different issues.
Excellent. And my last question to you, Peter, is the following. According to your opinion, what kind of specific soft skills students they cultivate through these activities?
The ability to listen, self-confidence, the ability to express themselves. It also, we did research on one of our productions. It raises their social and political awareness and their identity awareness, gives legitimization for people to express things they may not have done otherwise. And then all the performative skills, being able to speak out, being able to stand up in public, and it affects, it impacts on other things in their lives, obviously. Yeah. Research in the US has shown that if you have drama classes in school, the grades go up in other fields as well, because there's a certain self-awareness that you develop and a confidence that the theater space and being active and being able to have your opinion expressed and having an audience giving you credibility, clapping and saying, okay, yeah, this is good, this is important, it builds the person.
Peter, can I ask you a question from that I posted? Like, I see that it's very, very important, and thank you very much for sharing. My question is whether this activity, I know that it was performed by the students who are in the theater department, so they came to study acting, right? Or they came to study theater. Maybe I'm wrong, so please correct me. My question
Basically,
is
they
whether
study community theater.
community
Like they go out into community afterwards as teachers, theater directors. Some study therapy afterwards and do theater drama therapy. Mostly less actors.
I see. Okay. So my question is then whether this can take a little bit larger scale. So I believe this is very important. If it exists on a campus, it can affect other students who are not part of the acting staff. But what about actually involving students from multiple faculties and departments, like extracurricular activity, or I don't know, making it an interdisciplinary, maybe optional course where students can actually join and also participate as actors, not as audience only?
We're open to that. We've tried it twice. In the clip, the girl who was speaking about the change she made from being scared of Arabs to being open to discussion and so on, she wasn't a theater student. A few joined and she stayed until the end. Then we did another project, which was we opened up the project to the whole campus. And in the first, it also happened during Corona, which also was a problem. In the first semester, we had quite a few students from other faculties when we shaped the material. But when we went into production and it required more time, they left. You know how difficult it is to mobilize students when it's not compulsory. And I'm also open for them to get credit for it in their departments as a course, as an outside course. And we invite the whole campus to the performances. So we get more lecturers coming than students, unfortunately, from the whole campus. But yes, because it's community-based theater, and our community is the campus, we do try to involve the campus as much as possible. It's not that easy, especially on a campus like ours, where students are already involved in work and have a lot of other responsibilities. And so if they're not theater students or really crazy for it, we did this last production we did was with people with disabilities. And we had two of the participants were graduates of our college, and another one was a student in the business school. So yes, we do want to do that.
How about, do you have any ideas or experience doing this virtually, like in virtual exchanges, international groups, something, I don't know. I know that it needs to have that community vibe, and having it live is a totally different thing, but I'm just curious about the option to open it up for like a virtual exchange experience.
Definitely. We started working on something. I hope it'll come about in collaboration with Cyprus, where we can share the issues that we're involved in with the conflicts in both countries, and create a theater piece together. I was in Cyprus the day the war in Israel broke out at a festival. I hope we can get that happening. And yes, I would love to collaborate with any, basically it would be with universities and colleges, because it's an easier collaboration and it gets funded and supported. But yes, definitely. Have exchanges, we're also working on a joint project with a university in Bangkok. Theater, applied theater with dialogue and multiculturalism. This is culturalism.
Thank you very much.
I think, Peter, we can offer you, the best platform, to allow, 3 different religions to create something for us next semester, a scenario that you can also pilot your ideas and your initiatives, through the impact, because there are, 3 different, kind of groups: Christians, Muslims, Jews, and we need to find a way to communicate. And right now, this is one of the most challenging issues that we face within Impact.
I agree. Within Impact and within the world, actually, especially Europe.
Yeah.
I'm willing. I'm willing.
Thank
you. Kostas,
Yeah.
Following the workshop we had with the Sam and you on in Impact on revolutionization of the English curriculum, we were talking about task-based learning, and teaching or learning is moving toward learning that is based on task, real life scenarios. And I think real life scenarios will be part of any curriculum, including language teaching curriculums. So I assume that we can take task-based learning one step further and add performance and applied theater so that students can film or act these scenarios after they worked on them. And I think your ideas can fit within the language courses, even our impact program. Like we take things one further step, and we can definitely combine ideas.
Thank you. Thank you. So are there any questions? So I think that we should renew our meetings. Thank you very much, Peter, for this wonderful and very different, I would say, approach. It was really nice.
Thank you, everyone, for participating.
And we are going to renew our meetings, I say, next Wednesday. I think that we have Artificial Intelligence Playground. We are going to announce this, through Elena. We have on Thursday, let me check my calendar in order, to be able to be reliable. Next Thursday, we have civic education and civic engagement from Professor Akira Posnat from Western Galilee College. It's something that's very much interesting. It's of a great priority of the universities in general. I mean, right now in Europe at least, and Eric, as a part of the European higher education area, it's like the universities are looking for ways in order to engage with the local societies and the society needs. So this is something that is going to be addressed next Thursday at 3 o'clock CET. I will send you the information and the poster. And also, I think next Friday, I don't know if, the lecture will happen. I have to check my program because we have the National Conference of Rectors in Greek universities and I have to participate. But we have on Wednesday and on Thursday our meetings. For next Friday, you will be informed. So until then, stay safe. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Whoever, the weekend starts. And
thank you, Peter.
The video will be uploaded immediately and I will send to all of you the link in order to follow it again. Peter, thank you very much. And people from Western Galilee College, thank you very much for the contribution. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Peter, send us the transparencies.
I will. I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.